I am Artemis Teagan, and I am the owner and director of the Artemis Center for Family Therapy. I am happy to have two of my colleagues here today, Robin Kim and Veronica Davies. We're going to be answering questions today about how we use mindfulness in clinical practice, in particular with children, adolescents, and families. So when we talk about mindfulness, we're talking about learning how to arrive where you already are at without judgment in terms of dealing with your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Right? We live in a culture where we're often either projected somewhere into the future or into the past, and we miss what's going on in the present. We find that that orientation creates a lot of problems, particularly around anxiety and missed communication. So when we're doing family work, which we do a lot of in the practice, we try to bring in mindfulness at a very early stage in treatment with children and families. We are talking about using techniques such as breathing, orienting to the five senses, learning how to stay present. We might use techniques like learning how to eat a grape slowly. We might do a mindful walk. But these are all ways to help try to bring conscious awareness into the present so that people are not in avoidance as to what they're thinking and feeling. Most religious systems have some form of prayer or meditation. So this doesn't conflict with the type of work that we do in our practice.
One of the things I have found also is if I know that a particular client or child has a spiritual belief, I integrate that in with the mindfulness. As what their belief system is can be easily adapted to use mindfulness with it, such as praying versus meditating, and also using your higher power, which could be also their connection to whatever God they choose to worship. So it doesn't have to go against anybody's spiritual beliefs. It just is. Adolescents these days are always scattered all over the place. They've got their phones, they've got their computers, their iPods, everything. Very few minutes of their day are spent in the present. They're always thinking about what's going to happen next, what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen tonight. So when I just bring it down to simple terms like, I just want you to be with yourself and your feeling for 5 seconds, that is a foreign concept to them. And at first they may try to fight it, but once they start, they find you could see their body completely, I don't have to think about that right now. I'm allowed to just be. And that's how I kind of introduced it to them, and then we take off from there.
Okay. Now, when you're dealing with adolescents, what sorts of particular issues or diagnoses do you find lend themselves well to mindfulness practice?
Well, absolutely anxiety.
Okay.
Anxiety and PTSD for sure. But I also see many children who are just filled with anxiety. It's no longer, just getting through elementary school. You have to get through elementary school with A+. Society as a whole puts so much pressure on children and adolescents to perform, to be the best, to get into the best college possible, and that starts from kindergarten. So by the time they get to me in middle school, they are stressed out about sports, grades, school, kids,
extracurricular
friends,
activities,
the opposite sex. They're just a mess. So those are the kids I see. Now, I do have one or two particular children in mind who suffer from severe anxiety, where they don't even want to go to school because the day is too much for them. They retain it in their body, in their stomachs, in their heads, in their necks. You would think they were 65-year-old men, retiring from Wall Street, but they are just children.
Now, I've seen you take your kids on mindful walks. Can you talk about that a little bit and how that's been useful in incorporating a mindfulness concept?
That's been really useful because, again, I just want them to concentrate on what's happening with each footstep. What does the ground feel like under your foot? What are you smelling right now? What do you hear right now? And that brings them out of their whirling world to right here, right now, and what I'm feeling. And sometimes when we bring them down to that, the tears come. Because all of a sudden they are with their feelings. They're not running away from them. And when they do that, it's a release. One of the things I do with them is give them tools that they can use while they're at school or anywhere. So a good one is when we do our relaxation and breathing, and they've got them in that relaxed state where they're just focusing on their breath, I will say, take your finger and write the word relax in your hand. And focus on what it feels like on your skin. And with each time you write it, I want you to feel your body relax.
Nice. Yeah.
So I've had several of them do this before these past SATs, and it's completely changed their experience.
Yeah.
Because they're then grounded and centered and know that they're going to perform to their best ability without their own pressure.
And it sounds like this is a way that you adapted mindfulness strategies for a particular client's issues and brought in your kind of own creative twist on it.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be relaxed, calm.
Whatever
The word is. But it's the sensation of concentrating on the feeling on your skin and giving that word power in your body, so that I tell them, I want it to go all the way down to your feet and back up. And so it just works, and it's something they can do with them every day.
Excellent.